Hello, good evening, and welcome to the session today. I hope all of you can hear us. Feroz, can you go and check if people are joining the Microsoft Teams session instead? Just go and check the rooms, or shall I do that? I think
Yeah,
there
I
are
have
people might.
opened the window, but I don't see any participants in the meeting.
You there as well?
Yes.
Uh, When can you check the rooms also? Let me very quickly check if there's anybody in the room. Okay. Yeah, see, Nipa Hazra has just joined. So Feroz, can you signpost them? Yeah. Hi, Nipa.
Sorry, come again?
Just Nipa, if you can hear me, we are not and Hasnain Mahmood. We are not gathering here. We're gathering in the go to webinar session. So all of you, please sign out of Teams. Go to the go to webinar session, please. Okay.
Alright, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Feroz. I think you'll have to make that announcement repeatedly, and I'm going to be in go to webinar. All right. Feroz, confirm, please. Feroz, can you hear me?
Can you mute one of the sessions because you're not quite audible because I'm hearing it twice.
Okay. All right. So I'm back here, and we have 10 attendees so far. So I think people are still taking the time to join. How was your experience? Questions welcome here, Abdul Wahab. How was your experience of the last session? How did the group you get a good chance to? Did you get a good chance to discuss the case study? Okay. Any better? The audio quality? Can you hear me loud and clear now? Okay. Thank you, Abdul Wahab. The Jamal Hussain. Yes, we will begin with the session here. We will spend about an hour discussing the case study, discussing the requirements here. I can still see Zahra Azam has written that she would want to know the requirements. So I'll repeat them here. And then we'll once again go to the Teams session and we'll continue over there. Okay? Is that okay? Say yes or no, guys. Come on, I'm still waiting. Abdul Wahab, yes. Then Tajammul, yes. All right. Um, I am going to look at the hand raises also. So now we're going to discuss the case study. How many of you have read the case study? How many of you have read the case study? Excellent, excellent. 3, 4, 5. You can raise hands also because I'm going to unmute and we start discussing it. All right. There are about 6, 7 individuals who've said they've read it. There's 16 on the call. All right. Let me ask this question. Anybody who has not read the case study so far, raise hands. Okay, Nadia has not read it. Don't worry, I'm not going to uh, read it out. around 25%, Umar Hassan. Okay. All right. Others? All right. Somebody has raised a hand. Junaid Nasser. Junaid, have you also not read it? I am assuming that. Okay, Aisha, we will discuss the learning outcomes, learning objectives in a bit. So just give it some time. Um, the Jamal is saying, but not make presentations because suffering from fever and flu for the last few days. Oh. Get well soon, my friend. The Jamal Hussain. I hope it's not COVID. COVID is spreading very rapidly, both in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, and elsewhere in the world also. Stay safe, guys. All right, so let's begin. And this time I would want people to contribute, raise hands, and do a discussion. Okay. So, about the case study, can you tell a bit about the history of the organization? So, what was the competition like when Netflix entered into the market as a mail order DVD rental system rental company? Raise hands. Um, I'm going to unmute people. And so, just give me a second. I think the net. Yeah, found the issue. All
I
right.
think
So
Harun is
this
me.
I'm back. I'm back. I'm just connecting with another Wi-Fi in my house. So sorry about that. Uh, I hope the audio will be clearer now. So let's start discussing the case study. Um, my first question to you was about, and I want to listen to human beings, so not just read the read the text messages. So I want you to raise hands. Okay. Now, what was the market like when uh, Netflix started or was founded in 1997? So, Aisha, I am guessing that you wanted to talk about this, and we have Hasnan Mahmood as well. So, Aisha, you can go first, and then next is Hasnan. Hasnan, I'm unmuting you. Please stay muted. Once Aisha is done, then you can comment. Yes, Aisha, please unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes, hi
Hello?
Aisha, how are
Can you
you?
guys? Assalamu alaikum, sir. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, perfect. You all
So,
right? Thank you very
basically,
much. Yes, what do you?
I actually wanted to know about learning objective too. But if you want me to summarize about early stages, then I can
Yeah,
summarize as well.
yeah. Just comment about what was the market like. So summarize
So
the
basically,
market
obviously,
circumstances when.
they started from mail order DVD rental place for, in 1997. And they had but they
Yeah,
could not beat, obviously, the one of their major competitors were blockbusters. Obviously, they could, when they started, they could not beat blockbusters. However, in 90,
Mm-hmm.
however, in 98, what they did was that they started giving their customers a 22 dollar a month. Sorry, it was in 99 that they started giving their subscribers $22 a month. That in $22 they can rent as many as DVDs as they want, and
Mm-hmm.
it became an instant hit as they gained around as they gained around like 300 300,000 subscribers by that time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
around
Okay.
and in 2000 they basically had a meeting with Blockbuster where they offered their shares of 49% to Blockbusters at the price of 50 million. And they basically what they wanted was that they wanted to act as an online retailer to Blockbuster. But
Mm-hmm.
at that time, Blockbuster rejected their plans. So what happened that in 2000 in
What was the
and
what was the comment of Blockbuster when they rejected this offer? Do you remember that? It was a very interesting comment they made. Excuse me. Yes, Aisha. They made a comment. I
sir,
mean, the chief executive of Blockbuster made an interesting comment while rejecting Netflix's offer.
actually I don't see any comment over here.
Okay.
In fact, no, Hastings made a comment, but
Mm-hmm.
Blockbuster only 20 million active users of Blockbuster is written, which mostly rent VCR tapes.
Mm-hmm. But
But what happened in 2002? What? Sorry.
sorry, go on, go on.
In 2002, basically they had the company went to public,
Mm-hmm.
and by going public, they started adding more subscribers and had a library of 11,500 movies. From 925 movies, they had a library of 11,500 movies and televisions and titles. And in two
Okay.
years, they after IPO, yeah, basically in 2004, Blockbuster even launched its own subscription services, but could not overtake Netflix, which
Yeah.
by the time in 2004, it had 4 million subscribers. And by
Yeah.
2006,
So
Netflix had 1.5 billion market share. Was valued, sorry, market share not. It was valued at 1.5 billion, which was twice Blockbuster market capitalization.
mm, mm,
What really
okay.
worked for Netflix was internet broadband in 2007. Basically, everyone started having with the invention of smartphones, and internet was cheaper and internet was more faster. So what happened was instead of downloading a movie, what they did was they introduced a virtual real player which streamed the
So
movie as they come.
let me Aisha, let me stop you here. So the particular comment that I was looking for was
The
the
by
chief executive
Blockbuster,
of Blockbuster.
yes,
While rejecting the offer, he said he did not see what Netflix offered that the
could
company could not do itself. Right. So
yes.
um, he probably was not looking at the future. He was not looking. I mean, it made could have made and a very handsome deal, 49% of stakes for $50 million, and eventually had to go to bankruptcy. But this is,
Sir, basically they had
where
to
the beauty of,
they didn't innovate. That was the problem.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's bring other people in as well. Hasnan Mahmood, would you please unmute yourself? And Sarah Batul, you're next. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you very much. Good summarizing.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, Hasnan.
First of all, I would totally agree with the points highlighted by Ms. Aisha, I think.
But what could you say about the other competitors? I mean, there was Amazon Prime, and there were others. There was Disney. What would you say about them?
Yes. the main strategy of Netflix was offering uh, commercial free entertainment, which they were prime focus. While
Yeah,
others, they do have to some extent their revenue streams coming from the advertisement. But while reading the case study, Amazon, I think Netflix do have assessment of making $1 billion per annum if they continue to provide ad services along with their current.
exactly. That was something that the investors pointed out, that Netflix could have made an additional $1 billion simply by posting ads or allowing ads. Yeah.
Yeah. But the yes, absolutely. But the Netflix management did not like this point particularly, as they think this was a huge shift from their strategy and culture,
Hmm.
which when the initial company was set up by
Hmm.
Reed Hastings. So this was their main goal, to offer services without commercial free ads.
Hmm. 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 Okay. And
To answer your question of
what was Hastings what was Hastings' reason for not offering or not allowing advertisements? What was the reason that he gave? You remember that?
I think it's their strategy, and the
Yes, it was a
main
strategy,
strategy
but it was
was
based on
just
a certain strategy was based on a certain argument. What was that argument, if you remember?
I do not remember that.
Okay, just give me 1 second. जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम सजाद यार इन अ सेशन इन अ कॉन्फ्रेंस में आप कॉल कर लूँ एक 2 घंटे तक 8 बजे के करीब if that's okay. Sure, not a problem. No problem, no problem. No problem. I'll do that. All right. Okay. All right. Yes. So we've sort of captured what the market was like. Hasnan, thank you very much. Sarah Batul, if you want to come in now and add anything further about the environment in 1997 when the company started, about the competitors, about other things.
Okay, so initially when they started off as the rental service, I don't think there was any other providing online DVD rental. So they
Yeah,
were probably the pioneers in that too, besides
that's
just
right.
the video on demand streaming in probably 2007. So they were
Hmm.
pioneers with that too, and being the pioneers, there wasn't competition in that sense, and they got a good response too.
No,
And
but
being
Sarah, but we're talking about competition overall in the industry. So yes, there were options available to subscribers to rent a videotape or a DVD or or other means of getting rentals, or even fixed content providers like cables and other satellite networks. So those were different options available, entertainment options available. Isn't that the case?
yeah, sir, I'm trying to
And
understand what
also,
exactly you're. Yeah, okay.
I would want you to talk about what was the type of content initially that
Yeah.
Netflix came up with. Did they come up with their own content right in the beginning, or did
No.
they sign up licenses? What was that like? And specifically talk about the case of Disney, who initially signed an agreement, but then later on canceled that agreement or license. So talk about that as well. Yes, Sarah.
Okay. So I think initially Netflix, they were very selective in the content they provided. It wasn't in large amounts, firstly, and they I think took up the famous like Office and Friends series, selective stuff like this. And gradually, as they picked up their subscriber base, then Disney and I think HBO rejected initially, and Warner Brothers too. But then Disney was the one to respond to them when they grew. And once they became the online video on demand streaming service provider, that's when I think gradually the other competitors picked up, and they also started providing different services and canceled licenses with Netflix and focused on their content. And that's when Netflix understood the threat
Yeah.
they're going to face content-wise, and they started focusing on going towards Netflix original and creating their own content. In 2013, I
But
think
then
they.
exactly exactly at that time, they
Yeah.
became so important and so big that production houses had started looking at them as as an important element of their supply chain. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they started creating their own content, is that what you're saying?
That's right. That's right. But then as the name grew, the subscriber base increased. I mean, production
Mm-hmm.
houses at the time of of coming up with new movies, etc., they considered Netflix as as an element in the supply chain. So
Yeah, and that's
again,
one of their
something
agile
important.
moves too. Talking about the learning outcomes, that's one of their agile moves too. That as they detected the threat, they responded well quickly to that too. So yeah,
Exactly.
that's that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And now let's move towards the organization's culture, the N culture. Yeah, have you read about it? So I would want hand raises once again. What would you? I mean, and that's the most interesting bit in this case study. A very very unique culture. Hasnan, let's give an opportunity to others also. I want everyone. There were 26 people in there. Let them come in. So culture. Who's going to comment about some unique aspects of the culture of of Netflix? Muzaffar, unmuted. I want other people. Alina Seher, yes, you're next. Okay, got three individuals. Asad Rafiq also. So Muzaffar, please, you've been unmuted. Please go on. Very
Assalamu alaikum,
briefly,
everyone.
one or two things.
Yeah,
Assalamu alaikum.
uh, basically, previously Hastings found another software company, which is PureSoft, and there uh, he learned that focusing on too much process is not gonna helpful for him, and that's why when he established this new Netflix, he just get out of all kind of process, and he just welcome the chaos. That was the first thing. Previously,
Okay,
they
all right.
just tried to get away from the chaos and making everything in order and introduce process for every problem they faced. That was one aspect of the N culture. And another was they would like to keep only the person, those are effective for the organization.
Okay.
They
Thank
would
you very
not
much,
like
Muzaffar.
hire too much
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Right. So let's give an opportunity to Asad and Imran Majid as well. Asad Rafiq, I think Alina Seher has lowered her hand. So Asad Rafiq, I'm unmuting you. So yes, you can unmute yourself and discuss this. Asad Rafiq, go on,
Hello,
please.
can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Asad, I can hear you. So we're talking about the N culture. Um Muzaffar has mentioned something about the culture. Would you want to elaborate or pick up
Okay.
another point from the culture? There's something said
Yes, I
about
will pick up another
the
point. If
document, the slide deck that they had produced, the 120 slides, I guess. There's something said about that. I mean, which a slide deck which described the culture of the organization. Would you want to refer to that? Asad, go on. Asad, are you reading? Sorry, I can't hear you.
actually, I want to pick a element which is avoid ruling. As I read in the case,
Okay, all right.
the biggest
You
challenge
can
of
pick
Netflix
it up.
put an element of avoid ruling, which elaborates organization. The more organization grow, and the lesser there will be chances of people to ask a critical or creative question. So that's why they put
Asad, we've lost you again. Apologies. Okay, let's move on to Alina. Alina raised her hand first, and then Imran Majid. Zahra, I'm coming to you after that. Alina, organizational
Okay,
culture.
hi. Okay, hi
Hello.
everybody. So there were 2 points that really stuck out with me when it comes to organizational culture. Number one was the fact
Hmm.
that they had this meetup, or you can say on quarterly or I think monthly basis, where they will discuss the failures and they will bet with each other that whether this new idea will get really hit or not, and then they will discuss those bets on that forum. So what it did, it really encouraged people to try out new things without this fear of failure, and that you do not have to think back or think about, okay,
Hmm.
you do not have to think back or think about, okay, I won't be taking this if it's failed. So that was one part of it that I think was like the failures were discussed very openly by the top management and the lower management, so that it really created a forum for people to go like all out and try anything. So that was
Yeah,
one thing of the
it's
culture
very
that I
nice. Yeah.
really liked.
Hey,
And
do you
secondly was the fact
remember?
that
Sorry, let me
there
interrupt
was
you
this.
here, Alina. Sorry. So just a second. Do you remember we
Yes.
discussed this within our Six Digits program as well, and we used a similar term for it. If you remember, fail fast. Do you remember that term being discussed in Six Digits?
Fall forward and fail fast, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. Good point. So fall forward, there's
Yeah.
no falling backward, and fail fast. So if you have to fail, I mean, what was the culture? What was the requirement at Netflix about failures?
So I don't remember the exact requirement, but it was like they have this
Very
system of
interesting.
betting. Like, yes.
Yeah, very
So
interesting.
that
But they were only required to, pick up their learnings. I mean, identify the reason of failure and pick up the learnings. What was the learnings from that failure,
yes,
and then move on. And if you remember, once
yes,
again, we're going back to fail fast. What was the, why would you want to fail fast? Because failure is an important element. It is essential. But if you don't learn from your failure, and if you don't pick up the pieces and then attempt again, then you're giving up. So
yes,
that's exactly, that's a very important part of the culture. Even at ACCA, I could exactly see a mirror image of ACCA in this case study. A lot of things are very, very familiar. So fail fast, lessons learned committee, discuss the reasons for failure, and then move on. Right, attempt again, make
exactly,
another experiment. Right, so that's the culture,
exactly.
that's the risk seeking behavior that one needs to have in an organization. So you as
Yes,
individuals in your own organizations, can discuss these unique characteristics of organizations, can discuss the advantages of having an open culture, can discuss the advantages of having a very strong feedback system in the organization. Thank you very much, Alina. Let's move on
thank
to
you.
Imran now. Imran, if I can, you're most welcome. Thank you very much. Imran, you are self muted. Please go on. Imran Majid. Yes, Imran.
Yes, sir.
We're still talking about the culture of the organization.
Sir,
What was your important find?
well, sir, the things about their culture are very prominent and very interesting, and it seems it's the culture that has taken them to this far. For instance,
Hmm.
they say that unlike other organizations, they give 50% weightage to the cultural fit and 50% weightage to the hard skills,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
they have a policy for freedom and responsibility, where they
Hmm.
give the employees freedom to make their own decisions, and in the process
Hmm.
if they fail, they are allowed to learn from those mistakes and follow the path of rapid recovery,
Hmm.
and they do
Hmm.
not follow the philosophy of micromanaging, and they
Hmm.
delegate, and then they have a diverse and inclusive culture,
Yeah,
and they have a no
we'll
rules
go to that.
policy.
We'll go to
That
diversity and
was very
inclusion.
interesting that they
Sorry.
do not have any detailed or processes and rules.
Sorry, Imran, looks like we're
Then they
losing you
had
as
a,
well.
no rules policy. Uh, their culture
Hmm.
does not promote detailed
Right.
processes and rules. They give freedom and
Yeah.
empowerment to the employees to act on the basis of common
Mhm.
sense and on the basis of situation that they are in. And except for a
But there
few
were still
cases like, say,
certain.
harassment or
There was, yeah,
uh,
exactly,
discrimination,
exactly. And they had
and
terminated the services of one of their senior employees.
yeah, a
What
senior
was the reason?
executive who used a racial slur, yeah, in the meeting.
Hmm. But what was the reason of that person being shown the door?
Because in a meeting he used a racial slur for some of the
There is
for
your
one of the
comment.
employees,
Exactly, Rishit.
and that was
Yeah, yeah,
offensive
a
and
racial.
inappropriate.
Yeah, yeah. And the chief executive came back to the entire organization, apologizing for the delay in taking that decision. I think that is exemplary. But I would also want to read from page number 5. And I think this should be a lesson for all of us here. If all of you can get this into your minds very, very clearly, I can tell you this can help us so much in making sure that you're very progressive. And I'm reading from page number 5, keeping only our highly effective people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
Hastings later said, keeping mediocre performers, he believed, demotivates leaders, keeps them from cultivating their star performers, lowers the quality of group decision making. Even though there was very little group decision making, there was individual decision making more than group decision making, reduces efficiency, causes top performers to quit the organization, and signals that mediocrity is acceptable in the organization. I mean, look at the way people cultivate their or populate their culture. Look at the way people, value talent in the organization. Yeah. Um, and Netflix executives believe that the best employees were twice as productive as an average worker on routine work, but 10 times more effective when it comes to creative work. I think this is
yeah, yeah,
phenomenal.
yeah,
This is exceptional information. And you see very few of organizations around us which will have such a culture. People who are just average workers or who are hard workers, quote unquote, only, you know, who are not star performers, right? They continue to serve in organizations for very, very long periods, and eventually slowing down the pace of the organization, slowing down the decision making of the organization, slowing down the risk appetite in the organization. So I think that is a very important point that I think mattered a lot. Let's now go on to Zahra Azam. Thank you very much, Imran. Good feedback, good comments, good contributions. Zahra, I'm unmuting you. Please go on. Alina, you'll come after that. Yes, Zahra. Sorry, I didn't hear that properly. Oh, Zahra, we can't hear you properly. I think you'll have to reconnect, unfortunately. No, apologies. I think you'll have to reconnect and come back. Yeah. Um, okay. There are a lot of other individuals who are still silent. Let me pick up on a few individuals. Alina, I'm going to come back to you, but I have found a namesake in this group. So Noor Jan. Noor Jan, if you can hear me, I've unmuted you. Please unmute yourself. Noor Jan in the call. Come on, my namesake. Noor Jan. Feroz, can you check if everything is all right with Noor Jan? Um, all right. Nipa Hazra, unmuting you. Nipa. Yes, can you hear me, Nipa?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you
Yes, I
doing?
can hear you. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good. Thank
So,
you. How are you?
Nipa, would you? Thank you very much. Perfectly all right. Nipa, would you comment about the decision making in Netflix as an organization? How was decision making done in the organization? Would you? I mean, a brief comment if you can, please.
Okay, so if I talk about the cultural issues, is that right?
Mm-hmm. All right, go on.
So, yeah, this is the freedom and responsibility. Was they actually give the freedom for the employees to take decisions? Even there is a culture about the rating system as well. So before
Mm-hmm.
launching something, they just put the rating -10 to 10, +10. So once they get feedback from the employees, so that's values for whether it will be succeed in the market or not. So this is the one of the I think the importance issues they actually follow
Yeah,
for the taking
excellent.
the decisions from the employees.
And at the same time, the case study categorically says that even though many people were consulted, however, it remained the individual's own decision. The purpose of this consultation was not to develop consensus in the teams. Yeah, was not to get everyone
Yes,
to agree to things. It was still the individual's decision, but yet
exactly.
consultations did happen. So -10 to +10 was the scale, and that explained the rationale of this rating. Excellent. Thank you very much, Nipa.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
sir.
Um, we now move on to Nadia. Nadia, you have asked some questions as well. Nadia, I'm going to unmute you. Nadia Rahim, you're unmuted. Can you please discuss candid feedback system in the organization? Candid feedback.
Uh, I haven't read the
You haven't read
case
the
study
the
as yet,
entire.
but
All
yeah, yeah. But I would like to comment on my understandings that I have done till now in this current session, basically,
all right.
regarding the culture. So I want to say that uh, I what I have observed is they were not enforcing a culture; they were kind of embedding it in everyone's
Mm-hmm.
nature. Like it was not like you have to do this. It was in it was being built as a part of their characteristic. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
like. It
Mm-hmm.
comes from within, no? So I believe that is more positive. And besides, like everyone was their मतलब, ownership of the decision making was given to each and everyone. This
Exactly.
improves people's confidence, and then there's accountability as well. Like it was
Hmm.
all positive approach towards success.
Excellent. Thank you very
So
much, Nadia.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, as you read the case study, I think exemplary, organizational culture, and when the chief executive and the senior management would spend a lot of time in explaining the culture to every new individual who was recruited. In fact, it is said that they would make this document publicly available, so if people are applying for a job in the organization, before applying, if they would want to understand how the organization operated, because they felt that the culture of the organization was a bit unique to the market generally. Yes, and therefore it was very important for people to understand the organization's culture before trying to join in. Thank you very much, Nadia. Let's go on to Mukhazir Ahmed Khan. I'm unmuting you. Mukhazir, if you can hear me, please unmute yourself. Mukhazir. Husnain Mahmood, thank you very much. You've made a very interesting comment. 15 million views of the culture deck by June 2018. And this was probably declared as the most viewed or the most important document on internet. Was that the comment, Hasnan, if you'd remember? Mukhazir, all right. Feroz, can you please check with Mukhazir Ahmad as well if he's all right? Um, putting him back on mute. Sajid, Muhammad Sajid Yahya, I'm unmuting you, and I would want you to comment on the feedback mechanism in the organization. Muhammad Sajid Yahya. Excuse me. Sajid Yahya. There we go.
Yes,
Hi,
sir,
Sajid.
the feedback. Hello, sir, how are you?
Perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, Sajid, go on.
Sir, the feedback structure was very open and candid in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no fear, not for, there was no fear among employees
No
to
fear.
talk
Okay.
to. They were
Mm-hmm.
free to take their decisions, and they were responsible, ultimately responsible for taking their own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So this promote creativity as well and
Mm-hmm.
innovation. It brought innovation in the organization as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you very much, Sajid. It is written in the case study that every employee on a bare minimum would give feedback or would rate 10 other employees as a minimum. But on an average, every employee used to rate about 30 other employees in the organization.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Imagine that culture of openness and the culture of, I mean, we talk about 360-degree feedback. So a
Yes,
360-degree feedback would mean for a particular individual, the line manager would give feedback, the subordinates would give feedback, and people who are working at the same level in different departments, horizontal integration, so they would give feedback as well. So that's called 360-degree feedback mechanism. But look at this organization. Every individual had the freedom to talk about 30 other individuals, which at sometimes, I mean, it says it was not very, it was a bit uncomfortable. That's the word used here. It was but uncomfortable listening about yourself from, let's say, 30 other individuals. But it was useful nevertheless. However, I mean,
yes, sir.
candid culture, people able to comment about about their colleagues, that always helps, rather than having a bureaucratic culture where only the line manager, the line management gives feedback or reports about the work of another individual. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Sajid. Roman Salim, I'm unmuting you. Roman. Roman, if you can unmute yourself. Muhammad Roman Salim. Okay. All right. Feroz, please check with Roman Salim as well if he's awake. Muhammad Anas Khan, unmuting you. Anas, I know you're a good contributor. Yeah. Muhammad Anas Khan, please unmute yourself. Guys, can't take too long. Anas has signed in twice. Really? Okay. In the meanwhile, Hasnan is continuing to post comments. Let me read his last comment. Says there was more like offering share options that vested on monthly basis to counter bonus. Yes, Anas. Glad to hear you. Yes. Oops. Sorry about that, Anas. Sorry. Your audio is not clear, Anas. I think you'll have to sign in, unfortunately. But in the meanwhile, you can type in your comment, and I'll make an exception and read out the comment that you type. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Lareb. All right, individuals that I've uh, not heard from before. Lareb Langa. You are unmuted, Lareb. Yeah, Muzaffar, I noted your urge to speak, so just give me a minute. I'll come back to you. Junaid Nasir. I think Lareb has an internet issue, so signed off. Junaid Nasir, please unmute yourself. Okay, I think it's taking too long this way. Okay, who would want to comment about, and this is by raising hands, who would want to comment about how did um, Netflix raise funding generally, normally? I mean, and all right, Hasnan. Okay, that was quick. Yes, Hasnan, go on. Sorry, I muted you. Please try again, Hasnan.
Yes. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes,
No.
Hasnan, quick. Yes, we can
Yes,
hear you.
they funded through debt. Most of their funding came from the debt.
Through debt, through debt, yes. But at the same time, they went into an IPO as well. Is that correct?
Yes. 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 Absolutely.
All right. So I hope yes, Anas has written through debt instruments. Zahra has also written debt financing. Yeah, so I think just as you see an accounts and finance related question, you people latch on. But if it's about culture, you're a little shy. But no, I think there are a lot of individuals who've made some very interesting comments. Thank you very much. Imran Majid wants to contribute as well. Imran, you're free to talk. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. In the case study, they mentioned that
Yes,
for
yes,
the
Imran, go
content production, for the original
on.
content production, they
Yeah.
mostly employed that medium. But
Okay,
it was
all
not
right.
clear from
Yeah,
the study, maybe I missed it. But they also use the equity and IPO. And
that.
but for that they mentioned that they for the content production they employed the uh, mostly the debt.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So next question is, let's talk a bit about India, and we do that for about 10 minutes, after which we will switch. And who would want to comment about entry into India, and what was the environment like there? What triggered Netflix to look at and sorry, alongside India, we'll also talk about the other international markets. So Asia Pacific, the case study talks about the investment in Asia Pac, the investment in Australia, and then also talks about the investment in India. What were the major factors that Hastings mentioned when talking about the decision to invest in India? So hand raises. Aisha Munir has already raised hand. I want a lot of other people to raise hands as well. Please, come on, hurry up, raise hands. Come on, I'm looking for new names. So there are stars in this group, and there are some average performers in this group as well. I would not want to say that. All of you stars, come on. Okay, Anas Khan wants to comment on this. Anas, have you reconnected? Should I try to unmute you? Please raise hand. Population, cricket, Bollywood, etc. Nadia, you're making good guesses without having read the case study. Yes. All right. So Anas, please unmute yourself. Oh, sorry, raise hand so that I can unmute you. Come on, Anas, raise hand. I'll have to find you if you're not raising hand. Okay, found you. Yes, Anas, go on. Try your luck.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Can you hear me?
Sounded loud and clear. Fantastic. Go on, please.
Okay, sir. So basically, the Netflix targeted India because of certain reasons, huge population and the market potential. They anticipated that there is $5 billion potential in the Indian market by
Mm-hmm.
2023. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why they targeted India. And another thing was that in India, almost 600 million people are using the internet. They are the internet subscriber,
Yeah.
right? And out of
Yeah.
them out of
Yeah.
them out of them 300 are preferred to to watch streaming and movies and cricket and certain
Mm-hmm.
things. The another strategy they own for India was to avoid the price premium strategy.
Mm-hmm.
They were charging between initially 7 to 12 dollar a month. They have asked that India people are paying the same amount for the DVD and cinemas, etc. And they tried to reduce the fee, and luckily they have produced what is called the mobile app application,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they were able, the Indian people, they were able to watch movies monthly, unlimited movies and seasons and dramas by just $2.5. So this is something which really create a huge market for the Netflix in India.
Thank you. Thank you, Anas. Thank you very much. Got two other people who raised their hand, Alina Seher and Imran Majid. Unmuting you. Alina, sorry, I put it back on mute. Yes, Alina, please go on. Anything else would you want to talk about
Yeah,
the the Indian market?
I just want to add that there was this availability of internet at a very low price in which the telecom sector really boosted in India. That really
Yes,
facilitated the streaming services of the Netflix. So that was like one of the things that really made India a very attractive market for Netflix.
excellent. Yes, particularly, and that was indicated by Hastings as the major factor or for this decision of stepping into India.
Yes.
Mohammed Daniel. I've spotted Mohammed Daniel. All right, Daniel, come in. Daniel, unmuted you.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes,
Sir, I
Daniel.
want to add two more things like related to India. Like I think Netflix got inspired by the so-called geo effect, as they have mentioned.
Yeah, I was
They
about to
thought
say
that
that. All right.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
go on.
They thought that prices are too low for the internet, and there are a lot of subscribers because of that geo effect.
Hmm.
Because I think they spread the 4G all over the Indian market. Uh,
Yeah.
before that of Geo, that was not available and accessible for all. But
Hmm.
this creates a big impact even on the local producers, their production houses there in India, like Hotstar and Disney's on Hotstar, and even Amazon Prime, the basic Indian market. uh,
Hmm.
Firstly, when they thought and they reviewed their prices, as Anas said before, to $3 per
Hmm.
month. But I think so
Yeah.
that
2.5.
uh, they are not competing it yet, because if we have seen the other companies, like if we consider Hotstar by Amazon, sorry, Disney, and
Hmm.
Amazon Prime, they are selling their services for $15 per year, which thing I think
14.3.
so maybe, yeah, $15 per year.
Mm-hmm.
So which could cost like $1.5 per month.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think
Yeah. Okay.
and the other thing is, like we have seen, like, in India there are a lot of big fans of cricket and sports.
Hmm.
So Netflix isn't providing any of such
Doesn't provide
services.
sport content.
That's
Exactly.
why
Excellent point. Yeah.
uh, that's why I think most of the people are attracted to Hotstar, because they are providing live streaming of
Yeah.
internet cricket matches, football matches, and even a lot of movies are also available on their mobile apps. And if we have seen in the case study, we can see that there is a big chunk which is captured by Hotstar mobile app. I think it's 70%.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And they are and they also mentioned that there are not a lot more new entrants in the market from 2018 to 2012 to 2018, from I think so 12 to 9 to 32 entrants. Like there's an increase of 3 times, and one of them is like Z5
Yeah.
services,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's right.
they attract a lot of new market share because of the local content they are creating, which is unique. And I think so Netflix is trying its best. Like if we can see the latest of their season, Money Heist, we can see
Hmm.
they make a lot of collaboration with Indian YouTubers to give it a big hit in India as well.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Excellent. Excellent observations. All right. So, final comments. At what point, or on what factors do you disagree with um, Netflix strategy? Any disagreements? If you could come up with an assessment of if I mean, and this is an open question to everyone. Daniel, thank you very much. You can put yourself back on mute if you want to make a comment again. You're most welcome. But anything to any specific strategy that you disagree with, for Netflix, and a reason for that also. What do you think? Okay, quite a few names. Sheikh Muhammad Waqas is a new name. Let's unmute him. Sheikh Muhammad Waqas, you're unmuted. Please unmute yourself and go on.
Ji, Assalamualaikum, sir.
Assalamualaikum.
One thing I would like to add here is the question you've asked. Uh, they are trying to match the local TV channels or the local companies uh, that have already become a part of the S video services. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Instead of collaborating with one of these, like Sony or any of the local, they have invested around 470 million. They've mentioned that they have invested in 470 million in the Indian production houses to manufacture local content. Uh, by collaborating with one of these already existing dish and S videos providers, they could have easily gained a bigger market share.
Hmm. Hmm. Excellent. Yes. So, very right. Sheikh Muhammad Bukas, thank you very much. There's a comment made by Zahra Azam in the chat as well, and that's exactly what I was thinking. Mergers and acquisitions, and Netflix as an organization was not doing enough mergers and acquisitions, and they might have, in Indian market, in my opinion, uh, was ripe uh, for takeovers and mergers. Yeah, and therefore a good opportunity existed. However, Netflix focused on, I mean, and that is a way of reducing, if not eliminating, reducing competition also. So thank you very much. I think excellent discussion. Did you all enjoy? Was that useful conversation? I mean, going through the culture of an organization, going through very, very different ways of operating in a market. How was that as an experience? Fun, okay. Did- Don't don't you think it's created more out of the box ideas? Uh, yeah, okay, interesting. Really enjoyed. Thank you, Nadeem Anjum, Alina Saher. Okay, so I think with that should give you a good perspective of what we are discussing. Now, focusing on Okay. Why did you choose Netflix for? Anas, if you notice, this case study has been submitted. It's an award-winning case study by MIT. And again, if you search on the net, there are many case studies written on Netflix, because um, if you search around the world in the last decade, um, names or organizations or brands that all of a sudden became very popular globally. The global footprint became very wide known. So Netflix was one of those organizations. And in management discussions, in management case studies, in universities, Netflix is very widely discussed. I mean, the culture of the organization is very widely discussed, even within ACCA, I would say, in certain occasions. And ACCA switched to a very candid organization, or promoted the candid behavior in the organization. I mean, there were cases cited from Netflix that were discussed. So I think it's an excellent example of a progressive organization, excellent example of stuff that you now know, and therefore, best fit for discussions within your own organizations as well. You can cite this case study, you can cite these examples in your management discussions in your organizations. Yeah. So I think this is going to be very interesting and knowledgeable for you. um, Okay, all right. Hasnan is saying that if in future you may provide case studies of some giants, Pakistan corporates and conglomerates would be more interesting. That's a suggestion. Hasnan, I do have case studies. If you're interested in reading, I have case studies prepared by LUMS. I think about JB and Jaws. That's one, which was an event management company. That's just one case. There is another case study put together by LUMS, which is about Samsung, the case of exploding phones. We've discussed that in the previous 6 digits programs. So these case studies are available, excuse me. But I would want to come up with fresh material, with fresh information, with new information. Both these case studies that we are discussing now, with Netflix being discussed in this group, and there is Tesla being discussed in another group. I mean, excellent case studies, very recent, very modern, and very useful for your considerations, for your development. So let's now, yes, Nadia, I'll definitely share it with all of you. In fact, Feroz has put these case studies, at least two of them, on our Google Drive. So if you use the Google Drive link, you can find the other case studies there as well. Ismail Ghazi, of course, yes. Tax related sessions. We've just concluded conversations with our tax champion in Pakistan. Inshallah, we will be starting off with Pakistan taxation in a few days. Hopefully Monday, if not Wednesday. So we're all set. And like I said to all of you earlier, we want to give you knowledge about taxation in a comparative way. It is not just about learning the Pakistan taxation system. We are a global organization, and that's our benefit. ACCA is a global organization. It will serve you much better if you have an idea about the tax system, basics, of course, in Sri Lanka, the tax system in Bangladesh, and while I was having this conversation, and a comparative tax system in Pakistan, and relate, how Pakistan's tax system compares with that of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. These tax um, systems in place, the taxation system in place, the complexity of it draws businessmen away from it. They don't want to spend hours and hours, and being harassed by the tax authorities. They don't want that. They want complete flexibility. They want less time invested into taxation, and nobody wants to fight legal cases, or legal appeals in the court of law, over taxes. So that disrupts businesses, that stops businesses from looking into the direction that they should invest more time in. So we'll talk about that. Okay. um, so what we're going to do now is, thank you very much for the comments you are making. I think that they were very valuable, Hasnan. I've just read your comment as well. What we are going to do now is that your Microsoft Teams session is once again ready. So please listen out. All of you who were there in the previous session and you went into Teams and you were put into different groups, when you join Microsoft Teams, when you open up the team meeting, use the same link. Number one, use the same link as last time. Just open that link up. It remains the same. When you click on that, you'll join Microsoft Teams. On top of when you join the Microsoft Teams session, on the top it says join the room. Is that what it says, Feroz? Join the breakout room. So
Yeah,
if
it
you
says
click on
join.
that, sorry, Feroz.
It says join room.
Join room. Okay. So it says join room. So if you click on that, it will take you to the same room where you were placed last time. So what we would want is that you exit from GoToWebinar, go on to Teams. When Teams open up, click the button join room. Okay. For people who were not there in the last session, please stay in the main lobby, in the main Teams meeting, and I am going to then place you into certain groups. Okay. All right. So if that is fine with you, and those people who are done listening to me and would want to go back into their teams and start discussing and start working on the presentation, I would want that you should exit from GoToWebinar, click on Microsoft Teams, join the meeting there, and then click on join room, and you'll automatically be placed into the room that you were in. In the meanwhile, Zahra Azam is saying, can you please repeat the requirements for Saturday? Zahra, we would want a presentation, maximum 8 slides, to be delivered, addressing the learning objectives of the case study. The learning objectives have also been shared with you through email. So look at the learning objectives. Today we have just discussed important elements of the case study, but be more analytical, be more evidence based. I mean, provide more evidence based arguments, and prepare a presentation. Um, Remember all that you were told about interesting presentations, high level presentations. Don't drill down into specific content. Keep it very, very high level. um, and and also use more infographics than plain and simple text, right? Don't use texty slides. Use infographics to make your content more interesting. Okay. So Feroz, can you look at that comment made by someone saying he can't see the tab saying join room? If that is the case, I think this must be made by a person who was not there in the last session. So everybody else should be able to see this
Yeah,
tab saying join room.
if you weren't allotted to a room in the previous session, you won't be able to join a room. You will be assigned. Just hold on.
Okay. So Zara, I hope that is clear. I would also want all the group members to present some part of the case of the presentation. Muzaffar Hussain and Makbul Ahmad have their hands raised. Um, Muzaffar, you are already unmuted. Makbul, you go next if you want to make a comment. So unmute yourself and make a comment, please.
Okay, sir. Basically, I have a question that is reading the case study. It seems like that there can be some information that are not available in the case study, but that might have included as appendix.
Mm-hmm. No, I think this is what was available. But if you're looking for that information, I'm sure there's a lot of information available generally on the net. So you can dig up financial information because it's a public limited, it's a public limited company, so information would be available online as well. I would appreciate, in fact, encourage you to go and find information outside of the case study from the internet also. I understand that you're mentioning about the financial data which is not there as appendix, but I searched thoroughly and that was not uploaded by MIT as part of the case study. So unfortunately, I don't have that handy. So I'll encourage you to go and look for that content on internet otherwise. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Makbul, you wanted to say something as well? Makbul Ahmed, I have unmuted you if you wanted to say something. Okay, I guess not. So I think with that, we close the session here, and I will now see you in Microsoft Teams. So see you all there, and I will then help you uh, place you in different groups. Yeah, most welcome, Nipa. Thank you very much for joining in. I loved the way a lot of people interacted today, made some comments. Yeah. So we're exiting from here. I'm going to end this session. We'll see you in Microsoft Teams. Please join me there.